Traditional advertising methods like newspapers, flyers, etc., will only get you so far. Testing allows you to figure out what you can do at each step, whether it be an advert, whether it be the offer on the funnel, the copy on the funnel, the call to actions on the funnel. We meet people where they are, tell them about their problem, we agitate them so that they want a solution, and we provide them a solution.
Hi everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Ultimate Marketing Podcast with me, Sarah Dee, and Vish.
Yeah.
We're here today. Woohoo! Hi everyone.
Hello.
We love doing these. Like, we just have the best time ever hanging out, chatting.
We do.
And
It is like,
sharing
it's just having a coffee.
It is. See, Danita's even got a mug with her name on it.
I have. Well, and look what it says on the other side.
Yeah.
Check you out, promoting your business.
You say it's tea or coffee, Dee, but we don't know what's in that mug. It could be like a vodka and Diet Coke for all we know.
It's got a bit of Baileys in there and a bit of...
We should actually do that. That'd be really fun, right? To do a podcast once we've cracked open the seal on a couple of bottles of
Make
brandy.
It a Christmas podcast. Do our Christmas episode with a bit of
Christmas cocktail party.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. And also we could do a Halloween one as well. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
Get dressed up.
Yeah,
well,
there. Let's do.
Although you won't need to.
Oh God, I might as well go home now.
Anyway, back to Sarah.
Yeah. So now, in all seriousness, today we've got a really exciting episode. Me and Dee, are going to be interviewing our very own Vish Babber to find out how he got into what he does today and what he actually does. Because we want to share with you what it is that Vish does, so that if you need what he does, you can get in touch with him and get him to help you. So it's always interesting hearing people's stories. I know, like, sharing my story, there was things about me that Dee and Vish didn't know. So I'm sure Vish is going to share some things about him that we don't know. So Vish, tell us, who are you? What do you do? And how did you get into what you do today?
Great questions. Thank you for having me.
Can I give you a little cheer first? Wait, let me give you a cheer, because apparently you can't hear this, but I can. So here's a little cheer.
Has it finished now?
Vish Babber is in the house.
Awesome. I love it. That's basically giving me a drum roll before I jump on. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I love it. Love being here. Thank you for inviting me. All right. Dad jokes aside. It's weird being interviewed on your own podcast by your other co-hosts, right, Sarah? So I'm going to get how you felt on one of the previous episodes on being interviewed. But yeah, hey guys, I'm Vish, and I specifically help my customers find their customers online by helping them build an automated sales machine that captures their customers and puts them into their business. And we do that using two main technologies. The first is funnels, and the second is adverts, and that could be adverts on a variety of different platforms like Facebook and Instagram, which is the same thing, YouTube, amongst other things. And people usually get confused, or that their go-to when it comes to ask a question around what we do specifically is, so do you do SEO and Google? No, it has a certain element of SEO to it, because we want to be able to have it so it's searchable, but we don't just rely on SEO and Google adverts, because as we all know, that is a very, very small percentage point of the total marketplace. Only 3% if you reference Chet Holmes' The Ultimate Sales Machine, right? It's only 3% of your whole marketplace is actually looking for what you do at the moment in time that they're ready to buy. So we help customers understand that there's a bigger chunk of the market that would be potentially open to them but don't know about them because they haven't been reminded of their problem at that point in time. And we help our customers kind of find out who those people are and target them, and then capture them into their ecosystem, their sales ecosystem. So yeah, it wasn't something that I always did, actually. I was going
to say, how did you get into this?
Yeah,
it's a long story.
The story.
Yeah, this is this is the story of all the
So I
stories.
actually know the story, but I just wanted
Oh, do
to
Yeah,
you?
make sure he answered it
yeah,
because I've known Vish for a very long
yeah.
time.
Since I was young, I just had to put that
Oh,
out there because Dee's a lot older than I am, so
I
a lot
knew that was
older than I
coming.
am. Yeah,
I knew
I had
that
to
was
get you
coming.
back. I had to get you back for the Halloween comment. So yeah, like, how do I get into it? So I much like yourself, Sarah, I was corporate, and also you, Dee. I was corporate for many years. Um, working in like various sales and customer service management roles, specifically around people management. And that's when I started dabbling with NLP, which is
Oh,
neuro linguistic programming. And I used it to help my sales agents learn how to sell more effectively. And then through that, I actually learned that I loved the whole NLP stuff and I wanted to learn more about it. So I did some qualifications, got some qualies in that, and
wow.
I became a training manager. So I then would train not just my own sales teams because I was running very successful sales teams, but I was training other sales teams on how to do this, and part of that remit, I was also recruiting people into the business. So using a lot of the NLP toolkit to help me do that effectively. Um, and yeah, like obviously, like HR, like when you said HR, it's a very similar. But L&D is part of the HR remit. So we had that part in common, right, Sarah? Um,
Definitely.
And then, years later, I just had enough, burnt out, had a life-changing experience where my mum passed away, and I realized that I was selling my soul, was leaving in the morning, coming back late at night, just wasn't having a good work-life balance, and I wanted to kind of even that side of things out, and I wanted to reach out and help people and work with people. So I bought a business franchise from
Oh, cool.
people. Yeah, I bought a
Yeah.
franchise. I was running a hypnotherapy clinic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. Really amazing stuff. The therapies were absolutely awesome. And the only thing that didn't work quite as well was the actual marketing side of the business. So I went and learned marketing. I learned Facebook ads and specifically click funnels or funnels. And it's not just click funnels that you can build funnels, or you can build them on a variety of different platforms. But at that point in time, I learned click funnels, and I was just like, "Wow, what is this? Like, where do I get more of this?" And I fully immersed myself into it. And Dee's smiling because she knows the story's going. All right, I was like, fresh out of college, as it were, with ClickFunnels. I was like really like enthusiastic about it, trying to build funnels for as many people as possible, helping loads of friends and colleagues out. And I built a funnel for a friend of mine, Jessen, who was going through some similarly challenging times at that point in time as well. He's like, Vish, this is the last bit of money I got to my name. I need to build a funnel. I need to make some money. What can we do? So we built a funnel for getting people into live events. And off the back of the live events, he would then upsell into his coaching and mentoring packages. Um, and I realized a year or two later that I should have negotiated a kickback on this, because Jess went on to make over 1 point something million pounds off that
Oh,
funnel.
amazing.
Yeah, like just by selling the back end courses and stuff like that, the funnel was worth a lot of money to him. Um,
Mm.
Off the back of that, he got to speak on stage at a couple of Success Resources events, like with Gary Vee, and, amongst other people. So it worked out really well for him. And the conversation that I had at the time was, do I want to be running a hypnotherapy practice where, I'm still exchanging time for money, or do I want to own a business where I can help more people not fall into the same trap I was? Because I was spending anywhere between £3,000 and £4,000 a month on lead generation when I was running a
Yeah.
hypnotherapy practice and not getting the leads into my business. I need to be coached by the franchise owners to say that I wasn't selling correctly. Um, yeah, coming from a sales and training background, I was like, no, that's probably not the case. Putting all arrogance and everything to one side. So yeah, that's when I started the agency. Um, yeah, and since then we've gone through a bit of a rebrand and just in the process of changing the name over because I want it to be a bigger entity. I want to start growing and scaling what we're doing. But yeah, it's really really interesting of how I got here. Still having the access to the NLP toolkit, we actually use it a lot with what we do with our clients, not just our clients, but to help them get their clients as well. So yeah, it's really interesting stuff. That's a story of how I got to where I am today.
So it's actually really similar to me, isn't it? Like corporate, and then doing something like more health and well-being related,
Yeah,
and then realize you love the marketing of that thing more than you love the business that you're in, and then
yeah.
transition over to marketing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
absolutely.
Like my background was like when I was at uni, I studied IT. Like both my qualifications were in IT. Never used it, but obviously having IT as a background, and then going into marketing, like it's all data led. Like you're using systems online, like it's all it's all cutting edge. And now with the whole AI thing, it's just so amazing to be a marketer in this day and age. And there's
You
so much
basically
space in the
geek out
marketplace.
on the geek, don't
Yeah, I
you?
geek out on the geek, right? Like I love this stuff. Like when you guys get me talking about it, like I'll never stop. And so yeah, I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is what I want to do. Like it really excites me, engages me. Like I do want to help people, but I think therapy was the wrong thing at the time, and because of where I was at a crossroads in my life at that point in time, it just made sense. But if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here where I am today, and I've got to be thankful for that.
Yeah, every decision I think you make is because it's leading to a particular place. So given the fact that obviously you are a marketeer, you're a geeky marketeer,
Yeah.
what like just tell us a little bit about your kind of ideal client and what specifically they come to you for. So just like hone in a little bit on that.
Yeah, so the ideal client is, broken down, and I've learnt this into two pots, as it were. Right? We help like coaches, consultants, and physical bricks and mortar businesses like chiropractors, dentists. Um, uh, you know, uh, this word always causes me problems, but I'm going to attempt the word anyway. Estheticians,
Oh, right,
right?
okay.
Injection people, right? People that make you look good, because that's a big industry where people spend a lot of money,
Yeah.
um, and it's essentially where we our ideal clients are people who are already charging their customers for a premium product or a service, so they can afford to spend money on acquiring a customer because they generally have a long customer life cycle. People that will come
Mm,
back and repeat purchase from them, so they don't mind as much to have a slightly higher cost per acquisition at the start of the process because they know they'll make their money back, and we can prove that using you know lead tracking and tracking throughout the whole life cycle for our customers, but
yeah.
specifically around coaches, consultants, um, it's a service-led businesses specifically.
Yeah.
And
And the process, so they would come to you. So what kind of challenges would they be having that would that that at that point you are the solution for them?
right, so this is a really good one, and it's like it's taken me, and it happens in every business, right? We spoke about this, I think, on one of the earlier episodes as well, like kind of distinguishing your clients and making sure your customer avatar as a business is correct as well. But ideally, we work with people who have tried marketing before and it hasn't delivered them a success, right? And the
Mhm.
reason why we do that is because we want people to be open to the idea of spending money on recruiting customers and knowing that
Mhm.
word of mouth, and traditional advertising methods like newspapers, flyers, etc., will only get you so far. You know,
Mm.
newspapers are so ineffective for marketing
Yeah.
specific, service-led products nowadays.
I think
Um,
today is I mean, I mean, obviously I don't know the impact of newspaper magazine advertising, but if you're not doing some form of digital ads,
yeah,
you're well behind the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And leaflet drops are great, but you only out of every 1,000 leaflets dropped, you're probably looking to get two or maybe three inquiries come out of it because all you're doing is you're going to a geographical area and dropping your leaflet and then hoping your leaflet isn't thrown out as a circular, which most of them
Mm.
are, you know. So we we reverse engineer that. We use platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Let's just look at those two platforms because it's easier to talk about them and they're just more widely known than the other platforms that we advertise on. We leaflet drop to people in your geographical area, but only those people that are potentially interested or will be interested in your product. So
Yeah.
let's just look at like, beautician estheticians, right? The majority of beauty clients are demographically women aged between a certain age. We're not going to go into age. I'm not going to be that rude and say that, but
Mm.
it's generally women that age between a certain age. So we can look at that as a customer avatar, and then also look at like um, their behaviors online. Like, are they looking at beauty influencers? Are they looking at beauty products? And then really target them and get leaflets at them. And then we find that they are way more effective than doing traditional leaflet drops, than doing traditional newspaper articles, because and looking at beauty, looking at dentistry, looking at chiropractic, looking at anything that's service led, coaches and consultants as well. Like, what
Mm.
you find is that people are more often than not researching for these people online on their phone, because we spoke about this during lockdown. We were doing loads of lives during lockdown, and doing content around that. People started to rely on this way more because
Mm.
they were stuck at home. And so now, like, average screen time in the last 4 years has gone up by 35 to 40%. People
Mm.
using their mobile devices more.
Yeah.
Even though that had a bit of a decline just after lockdown was opened up, but people have reverted back because now people work from home more as well.
Yeah.
So we help our customers get to that point in time where their customers are interacting online, and we
Mm.
do something to stop their scroll, and come on board and entice them to come and come down a bit of a rabbit hole, and
Mm.
and educate and inform and get them to kind of cross over the line and become a subscriber than a customer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of funnels do you tend to build, Vish? So like when somebody says to you they need a funnel,
Yeah.
what's your what kind of things do you build for people?
So that's like, I mean, that's a really good question again, and it's there's no one way to answer that, and I think the best way to answer that question is we build the right funnel for our client. Like, we'll look at the whole process, and like, going through what we do for our customers, it's a reverse engineered process. We always talk about funnels first, but actually the first thing that happens in that customer acquisition cycle is actually an advert, right? The adverts come out first, but we have to understand where the customer wants to be at the end. Like, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to achieve a purchase? Do you want to achieve a subscriber? Do you want to achieve a phone call? Like, what is it? So we look at what the outcome is, and then we work our way back, and we go, right. So before you get to that point, is it beneficial to have like a call? Before the call, is it's going to be a webinar, and then before the webinar, is it a lead magnet? And then what kind of lead magnet? You know, we just advise you on how to build that, and then go away and build it yourself. So every funnel we build is specific, but it
Mm.
can be from direct to sale um, funnels if they're selling like a physical product. We've done some physical products, working in the fragrance space, which is really really interesting. Working with a couple of fragrance brands where we were selling their fragrances online, and for that it was a direct to sale funnel that we built for these clients. But then other clients like, for example, estheticians, beauticians, if you want to call them that. Um, we would build like an offer funnel where they have to sign up and come in or DM and get into an offer. So they vary so much. Some of our coaches and consultants find it much easier to convert a customer once they, because obviously we want to expose them to their customer as much as possible, so they can build up that know, like, and trust as quickly as possible. So giving them a lead magnet, getting them onto a webinar so they're exposed to them for 45 minutes to an hour, they can really create loads of value for them and wow them with their content and their education essentially, and then get them onto a call and then sell them. So yeah, we build all sorts of funnels really.
I think there's a clear difference though, isn't it? Like you said, you need to start with the outcome first, and
Yeah,
that's why, because it's like, like you said, for physical products, it makes sense to go direct to sale
yeah,
because it's something that they want to buy there and then.
yes,
It's a product that they want to have sent to them, etc.
yeah,
Just for people who don't understand, and I got a little bit confused there as well, so you can probably help me too. And that is, you talked about a direct to sale and then you talked about an offer funnel. What's the
yes.
difference? Because for me, a direct to sale is an offer. I'm giving you something. And so what would be the difference? Just especially for people who don't understand marketing as well. So
Yeah,
then
so
they know why they would come to you.
yeah, like a direct to sell funnel is something where you can go and buy an item straight away, and it's usually at a good price compared to the rest of the marketplace, and the reason why we would do that is because there's a lot of margin involved in that product where they can afford to spend the money and still make a bit of money and get a customer on board, because that customer will come back and then purchase stuff from them again.
Yeah.
There's repeat purchases. So we know that on, over a year, they're going
So
to be
that
buying.
funnel would take them straight to the product, right?
Yeah, straight to the product. So a landing page that would describe the product, all the pros and cons, problem, agitation, solution, which is the structure that we use for our landing. All our landing pages, actually, we talk about the problem, we agitate them, and then we show them what the solution is. So that's the physical product funnel, essentially. But the offer funnel is actually, we have to track one step back and go to the adverts and look at what the adverts are doing at that point in time. It's where they're talking about the product, but they're actually talking about a special offer. Whether it be a beautician service where they're like, usually this service would cost you, I don't know, £500, but we're doing it as a special offer for you at £200 if you sign up today. DM us for more information, or click here to sign up. So they're two very different types of funnels. One you're selling a product at the normal price or a slightly reduced price, but an offer funnel is getting a product with a high value at a greatly reduced price. It's a special offer, and those are generally run for very, very small amounts of time, because you don't want to get people used to you selling your service or product at 50% discount, because then they'll expect it at that level forever. Which is why platforms like Groupon and Voucher and all these other kind of discount sites, don't really work well for clients in the long term, because they might get loads of people buying a voucher, but those type of people, their buying behavior is, I'm only going to buy it because it's on offer, and when it goes back to the normal price, they won't repurchase it again. So they have a very, very short customer life cycle. And we found that by doing an introductory offer funnel, those customers might not go on to do like a full 12 months. They do like a 9-month, but our customer will make their money back over a period of time with them.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
No, it does. Yeah, it does. I mean, like even the offer funnel, I would imagine that could still be a direct to sale, but it's just the fact that it's 50% off, for example.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Or it could be, apply for the offer.
Offer. Yeah.
We can change every step. And the good thing about funnels, irrespective of what platform you build them on, is you can tweak that. You can do a test. You can do a test to say, right, if I take them direct to sale, or if I give them to an application or a DM or whatever it is, what are my conversion rates? Because, Sarah, you mentioned it last time, the market will decide. The customers will decide what works best for them. And also what works well today isn't going to work well tomorrow. We've all been in that position where we've done a bit of marketing and, it's working fantastically. And all of a sudden you wake up like on a Monday morning and it just goes, ooh, dive bombs, right? So it's a strategy that we use.
I think that's a really important point. Sorry, I was going to say,
one at a time.
We've got so many questions for you.
Right?
I know. But I think that's a really important point, that things change over time. So marketing is evolving constantly, and what works today may not work tomorrow. So that's also why it's important to have a funnel expert in your corner, because what I've seen people do is something stops working and they give up on it, whereas actually it just needs to speak to you and go, actually this isn't working anymore, what do I need to do? And it's then about testing something else, isn't it? So you talked about testing. Can you just talk a little bit more about testing? Because I think that's really important, because when it comes to marketing, testing is one of the fundamental things that we need to do, because we have to test what works. And you have to try like different versions, don't you, just to see what the best one is, but which one converts best. Can you just talk a little bit about that? And then Dee, you can
absolutely. And what I like to do when I talk about testing nowadays is I like to take it back a bit and go, right, newspaper testing or radio advert testing or TV spot testing, right? Back in the days was nearly impossible to do live, because you'd have to then get your data in, review your data, and then go, right, for the next quarter, we're going to change our adverts and see what kind of response we get. And so your feedback loop was actually 6 months, because you'd have to wait 6 months to get 2 sets of data back before you could make a decision and go, well, we need to change this.
Which one's working?
Yeah, which one's working, which one's not, right? But now what you do with testing is, because marketing is speculation, right? It's speculative in the sense that you don't know what's going to work, and you don't know what price point your customers are going to buy your product at if you haven't already got an established business, right? Or if you're running an offer, or if you're running direct sale, whatever it is, right? You don't know what they're going to do on that platform with what you're building out. So what we do is we put out different hooks, we put out different adverts from the start to see what converts best. And this is why it's called a funnel, because we open up your floodgates at the top, right? So we try and get as many people in at the top, and then we proceed them to the next step, and we proceed them to the next step. Testing allows you to figure out what you can do at each step, whether it be an advert, whether it be the offer on the funnel, the copy on the funnel, the call to actions on the funnel. When you change and you make micro changes, how they affect your conversion at every stage. And that whole process, that testing kind of ties into, is called conversion rate optimization, CRO. And what you're doing is constantly, through a process of self-improvement and testing different strategies, but testing one thing at a time. Because if you make 10 changes and you go, oh, that's giving me a drop in conversion, well, what was it specifically that did it? That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. We'll talk about that later. Is constantly testing it to then see which ones improve and which ones don't. So essentially what you're doing with testing is you're stacking the deck in your favor for that set of customers, for that advert, for that offer, and you're trying to replicate it and keep it going for as long as possible. And by doing so, you build up a knowledge of what your customers would react to and what they won't react to, and what they want as well. But then you then change your messaging later based on those learnings to then build up different funnels and different offer funnels to then re-engage new customers back in.
Yeah, because I think it's fascinating, the fact that a colour of a button can make a difference whether someone opts in or not.
Yeah.
A word you use on a headline can make a difference whether someone opts in or not.
Yeah.
So again, that's why you kind of need people to help you, because you don't necessarily know what is the thing that's going to make the difference. And it's only by testing that you can work out what it is that people react to and respond to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just out of interest, does the Amazon colour still work?
FF9900, yes, it does. That's the hex code for it. I geek out and stuff like that because I'm like, yeah, it does. And I actually want to get. I've obviously got some ink, got some tattoos. I want to get hashtag FF9900 on there. But people are like, why are you doing something so stupid? And I was like, well,
yes, I think that's very stupid.
It's funny. It's funny, and it means something to me.
Yeah,
it's true. The Amazon button does, but we
know what that means. Who's listening? So, what do you mean, Dee?
I know we don't want to tell them, Sarah.
Yeah, some intrigue and some mystery around it. No, so
tell them that.
The story behind that is obviously Amazon, very famously have made and they've coined the concept. It's the 3-step checkout, right? Select a product, go to cart, pay for it, and have it delivered. Those are 3 steps you need to order something from Amazon. Really simple. Used to be more, but they optimized it down to those 3 steps, right? You search, you select, and you pay, and that's it, right? But Amazon's brand colors were the orange. So over this long amount of time, we've conditioned people online to react to the orange button, which was the Amazon button, which is why it's called Amazon Orange, even though it's not, Amazon Orange.
Amazon Orange.
It's
FF.
Yeah, 9900. You should know this now, Dee. We've spoken about it for years. I've been hammering this.
I never know the hex codes. I just go Amazon Orange.
Yeah, now I agree with you when you say, Vish, you're a very details-orientated person. You like the minutiae. Yeah, I think I am. When I talk about hex codes, I finally get what you're saying.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, Vish, can you sort my funnel out?
Yeah. What color are you using? I actually don't care, Vish. Just go and sort it out.
Just you sort it out.
But yeah, but it also depends. On some of them, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Some people that their brands are a little bit different. When you put orange onto their page, it's like, ooh, what's that? And the people react to it. So it's all about testing. For some people, it does work. For somebody, it doesn't. We always use Amazon Orange as a starting point to test. Establish a baseline, and then we go from there. There's so many weird and wonderful things like fonts. What kind of fonts to use, the rating of fonts. Do you write the headline in caps or non-caps? And sometimes we found with we're doing the higher end clients for more high ticket products. Caps lock doesn't work. It doesn't. It's too shouty and it's not subtle enough for them. And it would all depends on the branding and there's so many things. I could talk about it for to kingdom
And
come.
again,
But
it goes back into that whole thing, isn't it? Like it, when you're trying to do it all yourself without either learning or having somebody else do it for you,
yeah,
there are those kind of mistakes that you might be making that you do not even realize because it all looks good to you. You look at it and you go, oh, that looks great. That font looks great. Oh yeah, I'll add capitals here because it stands out. Your intentions obviously have a positive, your
yeah,
behavior has a positive intention,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you have no idea what that's leading to. When it comes to your audience, Vish, this is a question I wanted to ask was obviously your audience of, like you said, dentists and whatever
Titians.
that one, estheticians,
Estheticians.
estheticians, and chiropractors. You say chiropractors as
Yeah.
well. So your audience, what, especially for them, because they have obviously practices, they have, clinics. Those are the kind of things, and like you said, they have these high end, potentially, products that are for, to improve, obviously
Yeah.
their look. So, what kind of funnels work well for them?
That's a really good question, and not one rule applies because obviously, like these types of businesses have obviously different geographical locations. You're not going to have two dentists on the same high street next to each other, or whatever. So it all depends on the demographic of people they're attracting in that area, right? Now, would it be worthwhile for a dentist to invite NHS clients into their practice for paid adverts? No, it doesn't make any sense for them to do that, right? And they've already got their NHS clients. So for specifically private dentists, we figure out what kind of what their area breakdown is, what kind of customers they naturally attract, and we help them find more of those initially because those are the quicker wins, right? Now, the way we do that using funnels is a variety of different funnels work, but what we found works quite well is an offer funnel and bringing them in for a slightly cheaper product, something like a dental exam or a hygiene visit, which they get at cut price. So it's obviously like giving their first visit away at a less than RRP price, but they're still able to kind of justify that because the cost balances out. And then when they're in the surgery and they're wowed by the service, it's kind of saying, oh, look, you might need some more work done, or book in another hygiene thing. Because, with a hygienist, you're going to go back once every month or once every 2 months, right? And so it's just repeat business. And then over the course of their life cycle, they might have kids, they might have somebody else, they recommend other people. They generally end up giving them more money. But, for example, like the hygiene offer, the hygienist offer is one of the most successful funnels that we run for dentists. The other is Invisalign, because Invisalign and the kind of braces stuff, big money, there's big margins to be made in it. So we can offer discounts and actually an offer stack, which is what you see a lot more dentists doing now. Like they'll give you like £1,000 off your Invisalign, but they'll stack stuff up. So it actually makes the same amount of value at the end of it because you've upsold them so many other things. But yeah, again, Invisalign works really well, and there's so many different things we can do with that. But it's
Yeah,
really visual as well, right? When you show somebody who's got not aligned
terrible
teeth,
teeth.
manky teeth, right? Show somebody got manky teeth,
Nurses.
like a picture of a nice smile. Like what
Yeah,
kind of emotion does that stir up in them? This is what I'm talking about, like scroll stoppers, right? Like
yeah,
someone who's got, someone who talks like this because they don't want to show their teeth off. You show them something visual like that online, they're gonna be like, wow, like well, how do I find out more about it? And they might not
yeah.
react on the first time, but the third, fourth, or fifth version of that ad, because
Mm.
obviously we retarget, that we show them, they'll be like, I've got to do it, man. Like enough is enough. I keep seeing all these lovely teeth in front of me. I want some good teeth.
Yeah, yeah. So, and like, especially those kind of clinicians, if you like, because that's kind of in the
Yeah,
field that they're in, they are very used to these traditional methods of marketing, aren't they?
yes,
They're so used to putting an advert in their dental magazine or their
yeah,
chiropractor magazine or and word of mouth
yeah,
and local walk-ins and things like that, like
yeah.
yellow pages or version of it. How, why should, not how, why should they get into the game of digital marketing? Because I think this is important for them to know that, before they become like late adopters,
Yeah.
um, how can you, what would you say to those clinics or those, you know, experts, if you like, because that's what they are,
Yeah.
that digital marketing, there is a place for them, because a lot of them don't believe in it.
Yeah, and I think that look, the clinician industry is changing quite a lot. You know, they are especially with the beauticians, clinicians, as it were. They've
Mm,
obviously relied on digital platforms to post and put their stuff out, but paid for marketing is something that only recently has become a big thing for them
mm,
by realizing this. But other industries like dentists, chiropractors, etc., the reason why they should adopt it now is for speed. It's
mm,
because usually it may take 3 months to acquire a customer, by
mm,
the different touch points that they have to be exposed to. But
yeah.
by doing it digitally, you can expedite that process. You can get a customer onboarded within anywhere between 7 and 10 days. Imagine
Mm,
that going from 3 months worth of marketing spend to 7 to 10 days worth of marketing spend. That means the
yeah.
customer starts spending money with you very much quicker compared to a traditional method. And from
Yeah.
a business perspective, that's what it's all about. It's about
Yeah.
getting the customer to open up their wallet, to open up their wallet to get the money out and pay you with what, D?
Pay you with mullah.
With the moolah. Obviously not the dollar bills, but we use GBP
Yeah,
over here.
pounds,
Yeah,
pounds,
pounds.
pounds.
But
Well,
yeah,
dollars if you're pricing it in dollars, if you're
yeah,
watching this
yeah,
and listening to this. Euros if you're pricing it in euros, wherever you are.
yeah,
So yeah, whatever the currency, whatever the right currency is for you.
yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea is to get to scale and grow and profit, right? And
Absolutely.
whilst you're also at the same time serving more people because
Yeah.
they need your help. Mm,
Yeah, and unfortunately, with practices like clinician practices with um, those service-led businesses, they often get bogged down with everything else. They're like, well, if we just open it up here, we put a signboard outside, and we have a banner, and we put up a flyer in the local church hall, and we tell 20 people, they'll go and tell 20. We go to a school fete, they'll do it there. That's great, but that's just a touch point.
mm,
People go to those places without the intention of booking in a service like that, and
yeah.
so we go to the coalface and we meet people where they are, and we tell them about their problem. We agitate them so that they want a solution, and we provide them a solution, and that's why the
Yeah.
PAS strategy works really well.
Yeah. Paz.
PAS,
So, Vish, if people are listening and they want to find out more and talk to you and work with you, how
yeah.
can people find you?
By sending a carrier pigeon out to me if they were doing it. No, I'm only joking. Obviously, the best way to get a hold of me is just by going to the website, which is Ignite Digital, and the E in Ignite is with a 3. It's ignitedigital.com. I had to be different, right? So that's
Mm.
IGNIT3 digital digital.com. And you can see more information about what we've done and who I am and what we do for our clients. And there's a contact form at the bottom. You can actually book in a call with me, and we'll give you a social media deep dive. So we'll look at what you're doing right now, what kind of results you're getting, and we'll go through a strategy that you can implement straight away. So you don't have to. It's not a sales call. It is a deep dive call. We'll give you a strategy you can implement, and that would help you generate an upturn in what you're doing already, or start generating your first clients online, and then you'll be in it for life because you won't want to
Wow,
turn back and use traditional methods.
cool.
And just obviously, because we're going to be ending this soon, and again, very similar to what we say to all of our guests is like, oh my god, we could have you go on for hours and hours and hours because there would be
Right.
so much for you for people to learn from you. But what if you were going to say the one biggest mistake that people are making with their funnels, what would that be? And why yeah, what would that mistake be, and why are they making it?
Oh my God, there's so many different things that people do. I think that the
Top
one
three. Top
that
three.
okay, the first most important thing for me is like it takes a village to raise a child, as they say, right? And when people look at funnels, they only isolate it to like it's got to look good. So aesthetically, if funnels look great, people are like, wow, that's going to generate me millions and millions of pounds worth of business. It's not. The first funnel that I built for Jess was what we call a fugly funnel. right? Which means it's freaking ugly. But it encapsulated, the concept of problem, agitation, solution really, really well. Putting people into problem state, stirring the pot a little bit, and then showing them what they could have instead, and then giving them a call to action on it. So don't just rely on your funnels looking good. You've got to have a team behind it to write these things properly. This is what we do. We have designers that solely focus on design. They don't focus on copywriting. We have copywriters that focus on nothing but copy. They write in Word documents. They don't write on funnel platforms. And then we then have our designers implement that into design. And then most importantly, we have, media buyers and ad experts that run your ads for you, that get the right type of client to visit your funnel, and then convert. And then those people are also clued up and experts in how to optimize your conversion rate. So they'll look at all the steps of your funnel and they'll realize what's working for you, what's not, and they'll help you start increasing the efficiency of your funnel. So those are three things that people do that's right.
That makes sense. Yeah. What's one just to finish then? What's one juicy nugget you'd like to share with people? Like one key tip or key point that
the most important thing when it comes to funnels and ads is start with the end in mind. Don't start with I'm going to make a funnel. Like, start with, what do you want your customer to be at the end? Do you want them to have spent a certain amount of money with you? Do you want them to be a subscriber? Do you want them to be on a call? Whatever the outcome is, know it, specifically from the start, so you can then reverse engineer every aspect leading up to that end point in your funnel. Because most people start at the start, they're like, we need to have a funnel that looks all singing and dancing, but they don't really think about what that funnel is going to help them achieve. So know what your outcome is and then work your way back is the best way to design your funnel. And that's how we do it on our calls. So when we onboard a customer, we always go, right, what do you want? We're like, oh, we want a funnel. No, I'm not talking about your funnel. What do you want from your customer? And they're like, oh, we never thought about that. And then we have a whole process around that as well. Yeah.
To start with the end in mind.
Start with the end in mind.
There you go. So if you are a dentist, a chiropractor, or an esthetician,
someone who puts injections into people,
get in touch with Vish, and obviously his contact details are in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vish. It's been an absolute pleasure finding out more about you.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Come back again. Come back again.
I'd love to come back again.
Listen, remember to subscribe to the podcast as well, the Ultimate Marketing Podcast. You'll find it on YouTube, so just put it in the search and we will come up. You'll see our beautiful faces. So make sure you subscribe, and obviously it's on all of the platforms: Spotify, Apple, Stitcher. Those are the only three I remember.
And YouTube. We're on YouTube too, so if you want to actually watch us rather than just listen to us, you can find us on YouTube. We'll be back soon for another episode, so stay tuned. And as Dee says, just give us a like, a comment, or a subscription. We'd love to have you subscribe and listen to us on a regular basis. So
and also share it with anyone that you feel will learn from it, will get value from this. Share it, and make sure you spread the love.
So thanks, Vish. It's been a pleasure. See you all soon.
Bye. Bye.